Hi fellow artists and art fans, welcome back. I'm Anne from Anne and Lorenc Art, and in today's tutorial we're going to be doing the grid version of the King Solomon's knot made into a corner border. This is the fourth video in the King Solomon's knot series, and feel free to pause, speed up, or slow down the video as needed. And if you need to pause it now so that you can go grab some graph paper or even regular paper and something to draw with, then go right ahead. And all set? Okay, let's go. Okay, so since we're using a grid method in this one, it's very easy to kind of plot this out. So I'm going to be doing 5 of the small squares for each line, and then I'm going to also space each of those lines 5 apart. So you're basically looking at half an inch for each line and a half an inch space in between. And we're going to do 6 lines going down. Remember, we're going to try to keep these even amount of lines, I mean, like, you know, in sets of 2. And then we'll do this other side coming down to form the top half of the corner. We're only going to go down 4, and then we're going to wind up going across. So because that's where it's going to connect. So from here, I'm going 6 across, and then I'll go 2 up, and then I'll go 4 across. And again, that same 5 squares of a line, 5 squares not of a line, and then you can see how that all lines up. Okay, so I'm sketching in here some, just very faintly, the lines to connect the different points, just to make it easier, because sometimes with the graph paper, the squares can kind of throw you off a little bit when you're trying to do these diagonal connecting lines. But basically what we've done here, that line that I've just put in is 7 to E. Now I'm going back from 10 to H. And then there's, let's see, there was 11 to B, A to D, 12 to F, C to 9. Now this one is, that was 5 to G, now that was 3 to I. From here I'm going 4 to 1, 2 up to J, and this is going to be 8 down to, I'm sorry, 6 down to Y, and then Z up to L, and now 8 down to W. That's kind of the long one. And then it's going to go from X up to N, and then K down to U, and then V up to P, M down to S, and then T up to Q, and O down to R. So now we're going to go ahead and put these in further so this will be a little bit clearer. So again, it's A to D, and then 11 to B, and then 12 down to F. And again, we're leaving spaces in between for the ribbon sides that will come in eventually. Now this one was E to 7. This is 10 to H, and 9 to C. That's, again, 10 to H. 7 to E. This is 8 coming down. You know, that's going to go all the way down to W. So now that one was 3 to I. That's 6 to Y. That's 3 to I again. Going down 4 to 1. Sounds like racing odds. 2 to J. 6 to Y. Z up to L. That's continuing that 8 down to W. Now K to U. Finishing up Z to L. Finishing up 8 to W. That's X up to N. Finishing up K to U, now V to P, This is M to S, I'm sorry, V to P, and then let's see, and then O down to R, and we had T to Q, and then there you go. Okay, so now that the skeleton of our corner border is all in, we're going to go ahead and put in the sides of the ribbon or the pathways. So I'm going 2 of those small squares wide on either side of the ribbon. Again, I like to start with the outer portion of the ribbon first and then do the interior. I just feel it helps to line it up a little bit more. With the graph paper, that's not as crucial as it is when you're going with the freehand, but I still find it helpful to still try to do that same kind of format. And it's just consistency as well, helps to train your eye and your hand to work together. So we're going to go ahead and continue on doing the outer and inner parts of these ribbons, and then we'll get into the next part. Okay, so now that we have that all sketched out, we're going to go ahead and go over the pencil lines with a pen or a marker. In this case, this is the Faber-Castel PITT Artist Pen Bullet Tip 1.5. And I'm just going to go ahead and outline or go over all these different lines, and then we'll move on to the line hatching. Okay, so real quick before I actually do the line hatching, I'm just going to go ahead and put a border in for this corner border. Now you don't have to make this part of the border. If you don't want to, you can leave it as more of that lattice work look, which is also pretty cool. Just when I'm doing a standalone kind of piece and I don't have anything else, I tend to like to border it regardless. It just, for me, it feels like it's more finished. But again, leaving it open is perfectly acceptable as well. So I just kind of connected all the little like kind of valleys between the ribbons, and then just went about, I think it was like 3 squares wide for my border. Okay, so now we're going ahead and putting in that line hatching, and here I'm using vertical lines to indicate red, just like I've done in previous videos for this King Solomon's Knot series. And then I will do the other ribbon with the lines that will indicate green. But basically what I'm trying to do here is just be able to demonstrate the different pathways, especially as you start to get into these corners, and then, you know, you'll see in the full border later on, it gets a little bit more complicated. And sometimes I find that it's helpful to see where the path of each ribbon goes so that it makes it clearer for constructing it, and especially if you're going to expand it further down the line. So I hope these are helpful for you. Please let me know in the comments if you do find this helpful to have the 2 different color ribbons or the 2 different line hatched ribbons, and so that I know, you know, that this is actually helping. Okay, so we're just going to go ahead and finish up these vertical lines, and then if you saw the line hatching video, which I'll have a link to in the description below, you'll know which way I'm going to line hatch for green. And if you remember, it is, yes, it is going to be diagonal lines going from they're downwards from left to right. And so I'm just going to go ahead and do the second set in those diagonal lines to represent green. Okay, so now that we have the line hatching in for red and green, we're going to go ahead and put in the line hatching for black, which, if you remember from the cross hatching or the line hatching video, is horizontal and vertical lines in the same space. And then, so this will fill in all those negative spaces that we have still open in between, like the lattice work of the pathways of the ribbons. Okay, so there's your finished corner knot. I'm using the grid version, and then you just need to sign off at it and you're done. Hey everyone, thank you for watching, and I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you found it helpful, please hit that like button and leave me a comment. Let me know what you found most helpful. Remember to subscribe so that you can be notified of more tutorials both in this series and future series. And again, I'm Anne from Anne M. Lorenc Art. And until next time, happy adventuring in art. Bye!